What is a combo move? What is a ball handling move in general? Allen Iverson had like the Allen Iverson cross where he would go through, little jab, and then he'd rock laterally. Or Hardaway would have like the Hardaway cross where he would drop and he'd go through cross and he'd get to his action. And you often see kids particularly working on so many combos but not necessarily know how to apply them. When I teach combo moves, I would typically lean towards applying them when you're sprinting downhill. The reason why that's important is because if I'm attacking my defense, I want to give them very little time when I get to them to be able to assess what actually am I doing to them in this moment. If I'm here and I got someone in front of me and I go like hard through cross, it might work. You might sometimes get your defender to go hard rock and you might get them. But there's not a ridiculous amount of pace that can be applied because I'm stationary. Whereas if I'm running at my defense and I'm sprinting in and I try and go at my defender when all that pace is being applied, they're typically backpedaling because they're worried about the drive. And when defense is worried about the drive, that's when people make mistakes. The success rate will be higher and there's less time for your defense to be aware of what's going on. I wouldn't usually go straight into a combo where my defense is just standing there, because when they're already standing there set, it gives them more time to see what's happening and there's less fear on their part because the risk of the drive isn't as high because you don't have a running head start. Another example of like not necessarily a combo but a hard move would be a cross jab. So when your offense is running downhill at your defense and they go really hard cross jab, the reason it works, even though we're just crossing the ball over and we're faking and the ball is clearly in this hand when I'm faking one direction, it's the speed being applied. It's the fear of the drive where you typically get more mistakes. If you want to work on a good combo at home, two really simple ones would be a hard through cross. So if I'm attacking, I don't really mind, I'm attacking and I'm dropping, I'm going hard through cross. Even though the action isn't that complicated, when you apply with enough pace, you still get quite a fair bit of movement from your defense because they have to respect the through the legs, because if they don't, you're gonna burn them. There's so many levels to this though. Like you could even go any sort of double. As an example, you could run at your defense, you can go cross jab double and still get quite a big response from your defense because of the speed that you're applying. Now, generally, the moves which you apply depend a little bit on the caliber of defender you have. So as an example, if I'm playing, not to categorize, but if I'm playing a 5 or a 4, I might be able to get away with running at my defense and I go really hard in and out cross and it doesn't take much for me to have some success. If I'm running at a good 3-man, maybe I'll have to go a step above that. Maybe I have to attack him and I'll go hard cross jab. Or if I'm playing a better defender, it's good to have things like maybe a really hard in and out jab where I'm running through and I go in and out jab in the hopes to confuse them a little bit more. So at the end of the day, you're not sure whether it's gonna work or not, but you're trying to instill your will onto your defense in the hopes they make a mistake. And if they do successfully jump it, so hypothetically, if I'm attacking my defense and I go hard cross jab, I go left, they cut me off, I've got to then be able to counter, which means I'm probably gonna hard spin or maybe a behind the back where I can keep moving forward and not lose my advantage. On the other side of this, when do I make reads? So do I apply combos constantly? And my answer to that is no, because you're not gonna always have that speed advantage, and we actually wanna make it far simpler and easier to score than doing all that, which isn't the sexy answer. I know so many junior athletes that wanna work on that stuff all the time, but don't actually understand when do I make simple choices. Now I'm gonna teach you about that briefly. As an example of this at a very, very low level, if I've got defense in front of me and I catch the ball, there is no speed advantage. So right now, I wanna impact them, but I need to be a little bit smarter. As an example, ball's my left hip, my shoulders are heavy, I'm gonna try and jab downhill at my defense. If I get here and they don't move, I've gotta go. It's a very simple choice. Or I jab, they drop, and now from here, I counter. A third option, I might go hard jab, they drop, and now I have my shot. In a normal game, this isn't necessarily a combo move, but being highly effective out of a triple threat, is more of a read than a move, but can be far more effective than me going through jab. Because this here is not a guess, it is a choice I am making. Now you might say, Jono, I've already got a live bounce, I can't always get to a triple threat. Fair enough. Same thing I can apply. I can attack my defense, okay? As a really simple example, and I'll give you some tiers to this, I can go through freeze. And if I go through freeze and they're not moving, dropping. If you're a little bit more talented, you'll go through freeze, know they're gonna hip check you, and as you drop, your hand's at your ear. So you can swipe off when they grab your hip. The reason I say that is the first thing that your defense will do is the moment that you're gonna burn them, they'll put hands in your frame. So if you go through freeze, you see they're not moving, make sure that thumb almost goes to your ear and you're ready to drop and go. If you're thinking, how are you freezing mid-bounce? I'm just almost pocket dribbling. So I'm going, ball goes back into my elbow to give myself time to see what is occurring. So I go freeze, then I'm attacking and going. Or I go through freeze, they do start cutting me off, and then I'm countering, okay? If you want to step above this, that's where it gets into some more split stance work, which means I might attack my defense, hit them with a fair bit of contact, and I'll change stance here. If they're not moving, I'm burning. But if I do change stance and they start cutting me off, I'm crossing and I'm going. And the reason why you see quite high level scorers use this sort of ball handling, because it gives you such a good foundation to be able to attack out of. I can go hard pull back, not moving, go, cuts me off, counter, drops, I can shoot a three. And you've got levels to how you want to like play out of that. I don't mind how you do it, but playing out of that split stance handle, you've got options. But with all that, it is more important you get good at making choices than it is the handle stuff. The handle does not matter if you have no ability to apply it. I see countless amounts of junior athletes when I watch basketball in Victoria that have no ability to apply what they work on. I see none of it. Now you might be saying, Jono, is there a way I can do combo moves from stationary? Yes, there is, even though there's no real speed being applied, but you need to be a little bit more purposeful with your way to apply it. As an example of this, Allen Iverson did this really well. He would often go through jab, he'd hang, and if his defense wasn't really active, and whether or not he did this on purpose, he'd go through jab, hang. If they didn't move, he'd go right. So you're still playing out of a, or you can cross and go play. Like even personally, like I'll like going through, I'll see they're getting a bit jumpy, I'll tap, then I'll step and I'll go. Like you can always add flair to it, the better you get out of it, but it's up to you with how you can make choices. So when you are working at home and you're saying, doing all these combos, keep in mind, can I make simple choices yet that are so effective? Go watch Kobe. Kobe had elite triple threat footwork. DeMar DeRozan, same thing. You can be so effective with your triple threat. When you master triple threat reads, then start bringing the handle into it. But it is the read which is the most important aspect.